Hello, this is Tiana Shoei, and I'm the host of the Made to Conquer podcast. This podcast is designed to encourage you to have a deep relationship with Jesus. Jesus told us to make every effort to enter through the narrow door, because when we stand before Him, we want to hear the words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Hello, everyone. This is Tiana Shoei, and welcome to the podcast Made to Conquer. I am out for my morning walk with Pip. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and so I do apologize for the weird sounds that you're going to hear. Namely, my I'm embarrassed to admit this, but here we go. My Crocs clomping on my feet. I do admittedly love my Crocs, and when you live out in the country like I do, they become your go-to slip-on shoe for just about anything outdoors, not public. I don't consider my walk a public event outing. Anyway, so I do apologize for the background noise, but this is something I've actually been thinking about for a long time. I saw a quote from A.W. Tozer, and it's really kind of rocked my world, and I want to read the quote to you. It says, "Every advance that we make for God and for His cause must be made at our inconvenience. If it does not inconvenience us at all, there is no cross in it." And of course, Tozer is referring to the teachings of Jesus, which we can find in various parts of the Gospels, in Matthew and Luke, and in Mark. And in Matthew, Luke, and Mark, Jesus gives a similar quote. So this is found in Mark chapter 8, starting in verse 34. "Then Jesus called the crowd to Him along with His disciples, and He told them, 'If anyone wants to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and for the gospel will save it.'" And of course, you can find this in Matthew 16, verses 24 through 28, and Luke 9:23 through 27. And so the concept of the fact that there must be the cross in what we do for Christ is something that Tozer obviously gets from Jesus' own teachings. And we know this. Just about every Christian who's walked with the Lord any amount of time can quote some variation of those passages from Luke, Mark, and Matthew. But the question is, what does that look like in practicality in our lives? And that's what I love about the Tozer quote. If there's no inconvenience in the things that we're doing out of obedience for the Lord, then there's no cross in it. And I think about that often, especially in this season of my life where I'm sorting through energy issues and just general well-being, and trying to figure out, how I kind of get things back on track and start to feel normal again. Everything comes at an inconvenience for me. And so, and sometimes that's because I need to rest, and I genuinely don't need to push my body. And I'm not talking about things for the Lord. I'm just talking about in general. And then there's times when the inconvenience is part of the process. Like, I've never had a day where I'm like, man, doing the dishes is so convenient for me. Now, if I stop and I think about what a blessing it is to be born and living in the 21st century with running water and a dishwasher, comparatively speaking, it is a convenience. Having the ability to clean my dishes within one spot, throw it in a machine, and push a button is a privilege and a convenience for sure. I don't want to downplay that or demean that, but my point being that as we go through our life and navigate the day-to-day, of course, everything we do to maintain our homes and our bodies and all those things has a degree of inconvenience to it, right? Like, the lazy part of us would rather be sitting and watching TV or reading a book or whatever. But that's not what I'm talking about here now. I'm talking about the fact that what Tozer's really pointing to is, where is the cross? Where are those things in our life where we know God is asking us to die to ourselves? He's asking us to die and nail our sin nature. And he's asking us to forfeit our convenience. And he's asking us to choose to love him over the things of this world or over the flesh. I heard a really interesting little mini, podcast. And basically what the guy was saying is, if you have been struggling with something that just requires more willpower, maybe it's get up earlier and spend time with the Lord rather than sleep in, or maybe it's stopping a bad habit that you should stop. And he said, and if you've just been using willpower to muscle your way through, you're going to find yourself disappointed over and over again. Because what the human really needs is not more willpower to stop or to change, but they need to choose to love something greater than themselves. It's the actions motivated by love that will actually create the real change. And so really, when we find ourselves in those moments where we know this is a moment where I have to choose between my flesh and the cross, really the question we should be asking ourselves is, do I love the Lord more than whatever this other thing is that I can choose? And when you choose love, if you love me, you will obey my commandments. When you choose love over and over again, that's choosing the inconvenience. That's choosing the cross. And so my point being this, as Christians, as we navigate life moment by moment, because that's really what we're doing, moment by moment navigating of life, we're gonna hit crossroads at multiple points during any given day, most days. And we're going to have to choose the cross and the inconvenience. But we want that choice to be motivated out of our love for the Lord, because that's really what it's all about. And so if you find yourself saying, I don't even know how to begin to do that. Like, how do I choose my love for the Lord over the way that this XYZ thing that I know I need to crucify, right? I've been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I that live, but Christ that lives within me. When we know we've got that crossroad, how do we choose love, our love for him, over the temporary pleasure that we might get? And it may not even be a sinful thing, right? Like, it might just be that moment where we're choosing between spending extra time with the Lord or going and scrolling on social media. Like, it can be a seemingly benign type thing, but we're at that crossroad. We have that choice. And here's what I found. In those moments, it's not about what you feel, because if I lived by what I feel, my life would be a disaster. I feel a lot of things that are not for my benefit. Feeling something doesn't make it a reality in my life. What I decide is what makes it a reality. And so in those moments, I just say a simple prayer. I said, Lord, help me to choose to love you more than whatever it is that's pulling my attention away from you in this moment. Teach me. Teach me to find that you are my hiding place. Teach me to recognize that whatever it is that's pulling me away from you will never be greater than who you are and what you've done in my life. And what a joy it is to have unlimited access to you because of what Yeshua, Jesus, did on the cross 2,000 years ago for us. And so I don't trust my flesh. I don't trust my ability to love God. I instead plead with him, and I trust in the power of the Holy Spirit. And I said, Lord, here's a moment where my flesh wants one thing, but I know that if I choose you, and if I choose to love you and to obey you in this moment and choose you over that thing, that is greater than whatever I think I'm giving up or I might lose, or whatever temporary high or momentary fleshly indulgence I might gain. And so I constantly ask myself the question when I'm at this crossroads: am I choosing the way of inconvenience in the cross, or am I choosing the way of the flesh? And when the flesh is starting to get loud, that's when I just say, Lord, help me to choose my love for you over anything else. Not the way I feel, but the fact that I know that you are everything, that everything I need, everything I could want, everything that I feel like I'm missing in life is truly only found in you. And help me to choose to love you more and to choose the inconvenience in the cross over my flesh. That doesn't mean you're going to get it right 100 times out of 100. But it does mean that you begin to set yourself up to learn, to choose the inconvenience in the cross and your love for him over indulging in the flesh. And that's what Paul is talking about when he says, nobody runs a race just to run it, but instead they train hard. And he says, I diligently train. And he makes the athletic comparison for us to understand that this is a daily battle. And as somebody who's been an athlete most of my life, you have to choose to put your head down and endure through the discomfort in order to achieve your athletic goals. And that's what Paul understood when he was making that analogy. And so my encouragement to you is recognize that we're in training, guys. We're soldiers on duty. We're on mission. And this life is meant to be one that we lay down over and over and over again, moment by moment. We put our head down and we choose the harder thing that draws us closer to the Lord and reaps eternal benefits over the temporary thing, which will give us some short-term high, but ultimately slowly detract and deteriorate from our soul. So when you find yourself in those moments, remember, it is God that has worked I'll say this. He who began a good work will be faithful to complete it. And so trust in him, not in you. And cry out to him when you're at those moments and you're struggling to find the willpower. Because this isn't a matter of willpower. It's a matter of learning to choose your love for him over your love for self.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Made to Conquer podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a review that really makes it so other people can find this podcast, and be sure to tell your friends and family about Made to Conquer. Anyone else you believe would enjoy joining us on this journey of drawing closer to Jesus.